There's a special kind of invisibility that comes with being the disappointing daughter. You're present at family events, but not really seen. You're acknowledged, but not valued. You exist in the peripheral vision of people who should love you most. I'm Riley Anderson, 34, and I've been invisible to my family for most of my adult life. My mother, Diane, is a real estate agent in Scottsdale, Arizona. She makes around $240,000 a year and never lets anyone forget it. My sister, Paige, is 29, married to a plastic surgeon named Derek, and lives in a 4,200 square foot house with a pool that's featured on her Instagram 47 times. Me. I'm the one who couldn't hack it in the real world. That's what Mom tells people. Riley tried college, but it wasn't for her. She does some kind of online work now. We're not really sure what I actually do. I'm a freelance software engineer, specializing in resort and hospitality management systems. I build and maintain the booking platforms, property management software, and guest experience apps that luxury resorts use worldwide. I started freelancing at 22 after dropping out of Arizona State in my junior year. Not because I couldn't handle it, because I'd already landed my first client and was making $85,000 annually building software. College felt like a waste of time. 12 years later, I run a one-person software company that generates $420,000 in annual revenue. My clients include hotel chains, boutique resorts, and vacation properties across North America and Europe. But my family doesn't know this. They think I'm barely scraping by, doing computer stuff from my small rental apartment. They don't know that the rental is actually a condo I own outright, purchased for $385,000 with cash 4 years ago. And they definitely don't know about Sunset Ridge. Sunset Ridge is a 23-acre luxury resort property in Sedona, Arizona. 12 guest casitas, a main lodge with a restaurant, a spa, a pool complex, and views that make people cry. It's been featured in Condé Nast Traveler twice, and has a 4.9-star rating on every platform. I bought it 18 months ago for $6.8 million. Well, technically, I own 73% of it. I have 2 silent partners who own the other 27% and handle the day-to-day operations. I'm the majority investor and final decision maker, but I prefer to stay behind the scenes. The resort generates approximately $2.4 million in annual revenue. After expenses, my share of the profit is around $420,000 per year, roughly doubling my software income. My family has no idea. Why? Because telling them would mean enduring questions, judgment, and demands. It would mean watching my mother calculate my net worth and mentally reallocate it to Paige's children. It would mean phone calls about investment opportunities and family loans. So I stay quiet, live modestly, and let them think I'm the struggling black sheep. It's easier that way, or it was, until Paige announced her destination wedding reception. Paige got married 2 years ago in a courthouse ceremony, then got pregnant immediately. Now that she had 2 kids and felt she missed out on the big wedding experience, she decided to throw herself a lavish reception. It's like a vow renewal meets reception meets celebration of our family. She explained on the phone. 2 days at a luxury resort in Sedona. All our closest family and friends. It's going to be magical. That sounds really nice, I said. Where in Sedona? This amazing place called Sunset Ridge? Have you heard of it? It's super exclusive. They normally book out a year in advance. But Derek knows someone who pulled strings. My stomach dropped. Sunset Ridge. Wow. I know, right? It's like $800 a night per casita. We're renting out the whole property for the weekend, all 12 casitas, plus the venue fee for the main lodge. Derek's parents are paying for most of it, thank God, because it's like $85,000 total. I did the math in my head. 12 casitas for 2 nights, plus venue rental, plus catering, plus spa services for the bridal party. Actually closer to $95,000 with everything they'd booked. That's incredible, I managed. Mom is so excited. She keeps telling everyone about it. Oh, and Riley. The dress code is upscale resort, where, like, really nice. I need everyone to look good in photos. Of course. And just so you know, Paige's voice dropped. Mom mentioned that you might not be able to afford to stay on property. Like, if the room cost is too much, you could maybe get a hotel in Sedona and just come for the events. Heat flooded my face. I can afford it. I mean, I know money's tight for you. There's no shame in I'll book a casita. Okay, great. I'll send you the booking info. After we hung up, I sat staring at my phone. My own sister was worried I couldn't afford to stay at a property I owned. I pulled up the resort's booking system, the one I'd designed and built myself, and looked at the reservation. Paige's party had booked all 12 casitas under Derek's parents' name. The reservation note said, wedding reception, party VIP treatment, extra attention to detail. I smiled and added my own note. Owner will be on site during event. No special announcement. Then I booked myself into Casita 7, the one with the best view, and marked it as component accommodation. The property manager, James, called me an hour later. Riley, I saw you coming during the Morrison wedding reception. Do you want me to prepare anything special? No special treatment. I'm just there as a guest. Family event. Your family? He paused. The bride is your sister. Yes, and they don't know you own the property. Correct. There was a long silence. That's... wow. Okay. How do you want me to handle it? Treat me like any other guest. Don't acknowledge our professional relationship unless absolutely necessary. Just run everything smoothly, like you always do. You got it? But Riley, if anyone gives you trouble, they won't, I said, but I wasn't sure I believed it. The weekend arrived hot and bright. I drove my 2019 Honda Civic up to Sedona, modest, practical, 7 years old. I'd considered my actual car, a 2023 Tesla Model S, but that would raise questions. Sunset Ridge looked stunning. The red rocks glowed in the afternoon sun. The casitas were perfectly maintained. Landscaping immaculate. The main lodge welcoming and elegant. I checked in at the front desk. The young woman, Emma, recognized me immediately, but played it cool. Welcome to Sunset Ridge, Ms. Anderson. We have you in Casita 7. Can I help with your luggage? I'm good, thank you. She slid a keycard across the desk, along with a welcome packet. The wedding reception events start tomorrow at 11 a.m. with a spa morning, followed by lunch, then the ceremony renewal at 4 p.m., and reception dinner at 6:30. There's a full schedule in your packet. Perfect. As I turned to leave, I heard a familiar voice behind me. Riley? You actually came. Paige swept toward me in white linen pants and a silk top that probably cost $400. She looked gorgeous and glowing, her blonde hair in beach waves. Of course I came. Congratulations. Thanks. Oh my God, this place is even more incredible than the photos. Derek's parents went all out. She lowered her voice. I have to ask, Hand, please do you take this the wrong way, but how did you afford the casita? They're like $800 a night. I saved up. Riley, seriously, if you need help, I'm fine. Paige. She studied me with concern that felt more judgmental than caring. Okay. Well, the family is gathering for drinks at the main lodge bar at 7. Try to dress nice. Okay. Mom invited some of her real estate colleagues, and Derek's family will be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. I took my small suitcase to Casita 7. The moment I stepped inside, tension I didn't realize I was carrying melted away. Exposed beam ceilings, a king bed with luxury linens, a soaking tub with a view of Cathedral Rock, a private patio with a fire pit. This was mine. I'd chosen every finish, approved every furniture piece, reviewed every design detail, and my family had no idea. At 7 p.m., I walked to the main lodge wearing a simple navy sundress and sandals. The bar was already crowded, about 30 people mingling with drinks, appetizers being passed by servers. Mom saw me immediately. She was holding court near the fireplace, wearing a coral dress and statement jewelry, surrounded by 3 women who looked like they could be her real estate colleagues. Riley, she air-kissed near my cheek. You made it. Ladies, This is my other daughter, Riley. She does computer work, online stuff. The women smiled politely and immediately turned back to my mother. I got a glass of wine from the bar and found a quiet corner. Paige was surrounded by friends, laughing and showing off her new jewelry. Derek's parents, the Morrisons, held court on the patio, describing their recent trip to Tuscany. No one really talked to me. I was there, but peripheral. Background. It should have hurt, but I'd long since gone numb to it. Around 8 p.m., James, the property manager, walked through doing his usual rounds. He caught my eye for just a moment, a silent question, "You okay?" I nodded slightly. "I'm fine." Then Mom's voice carried across the room. "I mean, honestly, places like this are wasted on some people. You really need to appreciate luxury to experience it properly." One of her friends laughed. "Oh, Diane, you're terrible." "I'm just saying, some people are happy with a Holiday Inn. They don't need Sunset Ridge." My face burned, but I said nothing. Paige joined the conversation. "Mom, stop. Riley is doing her best." "I know, honey. I just think, well, never mind." Derek appeared at my elbow. He was actually a kind person, which always surprised me given who he'd married. "Hey Riley, glad you could make it. How's work going?" "Good." "Business. You're in tech, right?" "Software. Yeah. Freelance development." "That's cool. Must be nice working remotely." We chatted for a few minutes, the longest real conversation I'd had all evening. Then Paige called him away, and I was alone again. The night wound down around 10. I walked back to Casita 7 under a sky filled with stars, thinking about how strange it was to feel so lonely in a place I owned. The next morning began with the spa event, massages, facials, and champagne for the bridal party and female guests. I arrived at 11 a.m. to find Paige and 6 of her friends already in plush robes, laughing and taking photos. "Riley, perfect timing!" Paige waved me over. "Everyone, this is my sister Riley." The women smiled politely. One of them, a woman named Brittany, with perfect highlights, said, "Oh, you're the one who works online? That must be so flexible." "It is," Paige said. "You're really good with computers. Do you think you could help me with my printer when we get back? It keeps jamming." Before I could respond, Mom appeared in her robe, a cucumber water in hand. "Ladies, they're ready for us. Let's go get pampered." The next 2 hours were a blur of spa treatments and forced socializing. The massage was incredibly personally vetted, the spa director, and she'd built an exceptional team. But the experience was undercut by Mom's running commentary. "Riley, you look so tense. When was the last time you treated yourself to something like this? It's been a while. You should do this more often. Self-care is so important. Although I know these things can be expensive." Double quotes after the spa. We had lunch on the main lodge patio, a beautiful spread of salads, grilled fish, and artisan breads. The red rocks provided a stunning backdrop. Paige was in heaven, posing for photos from every angle. "This view is insane," one of her friends said. "How much does it cost to rent this place?" "A lot," Paige said with a laugh. "But Derek's parents said we deserve it." Mom joined in. "Some people save 4 years to experience places like this. We're very lucky." Her eyes found mine across the table. The implication was clear. Unlike some people, we can afford this. I ate my salad and said nothing. The ceremony renewal was at 4 p.m. on the main lawn. Paige and Derek stood under an arch, covered in white roses and desert flowers. Their 2 kids sat in the front row wearing tiny matching outfits. It was actually really beautiful. A non-denominational officiant read their vows. They exchanged rings again. Everyone clapped. Paige cried happy tears. For a moment, I felt genuine happiness for her. Whatever else existed between us, she'd found love and built a family. That was worth celebrating. The reception started at 6:30 in the main lodge. The space had been transformed: string lights, elegant table settings, a live band, and a bar serving craft cocktails. I was seated at table 8. Far from the family tables, with a few cousins I barely knew and some of Derek's co-workers. Dinner was served. filet mignon with truffle butter, roasted vegetables, and a goat cheese and arugula salad. The food was incredible. I'd spent 3 months interviewing chefs before hiring our current culinary director. The speeches began around 8 p.m. Derek's father spoke about love and family. Paige's maid of honor told funny stories. Then Mom stood up. "I want to thank everyone for being here at this absolutely stunning venue," she began. Derek's parents really outdid themselves. "This is the kind of place you dream about, the kind of place that represents success, achievement, and the beautiful life my daughter and son-in-law have built." She gestured around the room. Sunset Ridge represents the very best, exceptional taste, luxury, and an understanding of quality. Not everyone can appreciate a place like this. Not everyone belongs in spaces like this. Her eyes found me at table 8. But for those who do, for those who've worked hard and made something of themselves, places like Sunset Ridge are the reward. They're where winners celebrate. The room applauded. Paige beamed. Derek's parents looked pleased. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My hands were shaking. I set down my wine glass carefully and took a slow breath. Around 9 p.m. after the cake cutting, I stepped outside onto the lodge's main terrace. The night air was cool, the stars brilliant. I could hear music and laughter from inside. I pulled out my phone and texted James. Everything running smoothly. His response was immediate. "Perfect. Guest satisfaction scores are great. You've been quiet all weekend. Everything okay with you?" "Fine. Family stuff. I saw your mother's speech. Do you want me to know?" "Don't do anything. I'll handle it." I stood there for a long moment, looking out at the property. My property. Every light, every stone, every carefully chosen detail. I'd built this. Me? The family disappointment. The one who couldn't hack it and did computer stuff. Behind me, I heard voices approaching on the terrace. "I mean, can you believe she actually came?" Mom's voice. I was half expecting her to cancel. "Mom, that's mean." Paige, but laughing. "I'm just saying, this isn't really her scene. Look at her dresses that from Target." "Probably. Although I don't know how she afforded to stay here at all. Maybe she put it on a credit card." They were talking about me. Right there. 10 feet away. I should have walked away. Should have gone back to my casita and let it go. Instead, I turned around. "Hi, Mom. Hi, Paige." They both froze. Mom recovered first, her smile bright and false. "Riley, we were just getting some air. Isn't this place amazing?" "It is. It is. I'm so glad you could be here, even though I know it's probably a stretch for your budget. But family is worth it, right?" Something in my chest finally snapped. "You're right," I said quietly. "This place is really special." "Oh, I know." Mom moved closer. "Places like this. They're aspirational, something to work toward. Maybe one day you'll be able to afford to bring someone here yourself. Maybe?" Paige joined in, her voice syrupy with fake concern. "Riley, I've been meaning to talk to you. Derek and I have been worried about you. You're 34. You're alone. You're doing this freelance thing with no benefits or stability. Have you thought about getting a real job? Something with health insurance? My freelance work is fine." "But is it though?" Mom said. "Honey, we love you, but we can see you're struggling. The way you dress, the car you drive, the fact that you barely travel. You don't belong in places like this, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant for luxury." My throat was tight. "You think I don't belong here? I'm just being realistic. There are different levels in life, sweetie. Paige married well. She's built a beautiful life. You go to chosen a different path. And that's fine, but let's not pretend you're comfortable in an $800 a night resort." I looked at my mother, really looked at her. The designer clothes, the expensive jewelry, the carefully maintained appearance of success. And I thought about the spreadsheet I kept. The one documenting every dismissive comment, every forgotten birthday, every family event where I was an afterthought. 15 years of being invisible, 15 years of being the disappointment, I was done. You're right, I said softly. I don't really belong here. Mom looked triumphant. Exactly. See, that's mature of you too, because owners rarely stay on property when it's fully booked. There was a pause. Mom blinked. What? Owners? Of their resort. We usually stay off-site when the property is fully booked for events. But since this was family, I made an exception. Paige laughed nervously. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Sunset Ridge. The resort you're standing on. The property you've been raving about all weekend. I own it. Well, 73% of it. I have 2 partners who handle operations, but I'm the majority investor. The color drained from Mom's face. That's not funny. Riley. I'm not joking. You're lying. You can't afford. I bought this property 18 months ago for $6.8 million. I paid $5.1 million in cash from my software business earnings and took a small mortgage for the rest. Paige's mouth had fallen open. You're saying you make almost $1 million a year. Roughly $840,000 annually. Yes, plus I have about $1.2 million in liquid assets and investments. Mom was shaking her head. No. You dropped out of college. You work online. You drive a Honda. I drive a Honda because I don't care about impressing people. My actual car is a Tesla Model S, but I left it at home because I knew you'd have questions. I own my condo, outright paid $385,000 in cash. I own this resort, and I've been successful for over a decade while you've told everyone I am barely getting by. If this is true, dub. Quotes. Mom's voice was shaking. Why didn't you tell us? Because every time I've achieved something, you've dismissed it. When I got my first client at 22, you said freelancing wasn't a real career. When I bought my condo, you assumed I'd gotten a loan from someone. You never asked about my work, my life, my achievements. You just decided I was the disappointment and treated me accordingly. James appeared at the terrace door. He must have been monitoring the situation. Ms. Anderson, he said formally, I apologize for interrupting. I wanted to confirm your checkout time for tomorrow and discuss the quarterly financial reports you requested. Mom and Paige stared at him. Ms. Anderson, Paige whispered. Riley is our owner, James said smoothly. She's been on site this weekend as a guest at your event. I hope everything has met expectations. The silence was deafening. Everything has been perfect, James. Thank you. He nodded and returned inside. Mom found her voice first. You've let us spend all weekend, making fools of ourselves. No. You made fools of yourselves. I just didn't correct you. Riley, if we'd known Paige started, what? You would have treated me differently. That's exactly the problem. Your respect for me shouldn't depend on how much money I have or what property I own. It should be based on me being your sister, your daughter. But you've never seen me that way. Mom's face was red. We've always loved you. You've tolerated me. There's a difference. You've forgotten my birthday for 6 years straight. You didn't invite me to Thanksgiving last year. You seat me at the back table at every family event. You make comments about my clothes, my car, my life choices. And tonight, you stood here and told me I don't belong. I didn't mean yes, you did. My voice stayed calm. You meant every word. Because you genuinely believe I'm less than. That I'm the disappointing daughter who couldn't make it, and you've treated me that way for so long that you didn't even realize you were doing it. Paige was crying now. Riley, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I know you didn't know. That's the point. You never asked. Neither of you ever asked about my life, my work, my dreams. You just assumed. I turned to head back inside, then stopped. You have the property until checkout tomorrow at 11 a.m. Everything you've booked is paid for to Rick's parents. Deposit covered it. After that, I'd appreciate if you didn't contact me for a while. I need space. Riley, please. Mom reached for my arm, Enjoy your evening. The band is excellent. The dessert course should be coming out soon. I recommend the chocolate torte. I walked back inside, through the reception, and out to my casita. My hands didn't start shaking until I closed the door behind me. I sat on the private patio of Casita 7, wrapped in a blanket, watching the stars. My phone buzzed constantly, texts from Mom, from Paige, from Derek, even from Derek's mother who'd apparently been filled in. I didn't read them. Around midnight, there was a soft knock on my door. I almost didn't answer, but something made me look through the peephole. James, I opened the door. Everything okay? Everything's fine. Party wrapped up around 11:30. Guests have all retired to their casita. I just wanted to check on you. I'm okay. Riley, I've worked for you for 18 months. I've never seen you anything but calm and professional. What happened tonight, was a long time coming. He nodded. For what it's worth, I think you handled it with a lot of grace, more than they deserved. Thanks, James. Also, your mother tried to book 3 additional nights at the resort. I told her we're fully booked for the next 6 weeks. Are we actually fully booked? No. But she doesn't need to know that. I smiled for the first time in hours. Thank you. After he left, I pulled out my laptop and did what I always do when emotions overwhelm me. I worked. I reviewed code for a new resort client, checked our booking system's performance, responded to emails. Work was safe. Work was controllable. Work made sense. Around 2 a.m., I finally crawled into the luxurious bed in my casita and fell asleep. Checkout the next morning was awkward. Paige and Derek left early with the kids, barely saying goodbye. Mom lingered at the front desk, trying to catch me, but I stayed in my casita until I saw her car leave the property. Then I walked to the main lodge, where James had coffee waiting. How are you holding up? He asked. I'm okay. Really? You know what you did last night took courage, or stupidity. No. Courage. You set a boundary. You demanded respect. That's not easy with family. I sipped my coffee and looked out at the property. The morning light made the red rocks glow. Guests were emerging from their casitas, heading to breakfast, starting their day. This was me. I'd build this from nothing. From years of late nights coding, building relationships, saving money, taking risks. I'd done it without my family's support, without their belief, without their recognition, and I'd done it anyway. James, can you do me a favor? Anything. Book me Casita 7 for the next 3 nights. I'm going to stay and just exist here. No family, no obligations, just me and the property I built. Consider it done. 3 months later, I received a letter from Paige. A real letter, handwritten, sent to my condo. Riley, I've spent 3 months thinking about what happened at Sunset Ridge. About the way we've treated you. About the assumptions I made. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve that yet. I'm writing to tell you I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. And I hope one day you might give me a chance to be the sister you deserved all along. Love. Paige. I read it 3 times, then put it in a drawer. Maybe one day I'd respond. Maybe one day we'd rebuild something. But, for now, I was okay being exactly where I was. Successful, independent, and finally, visible, but only to the people who actually mattered. The ones who saw me all along.